infrared scanning. We're betrayed by our own natural body heat. Fortunately, the infrared isn't too advanced. Dutch Schaefer was able to evade the predators' fortunate.
Guerrilla forces have diverted the outflow pipeline to irrigate crops used in the production of narcotics. We've been cleared to drop
By covering himself in cool mud. This led the team to develop a bodysuit that similarly masks the wearer's infrared signature. We're still working on ways to counteract the cloaking system, but recent efforts have been encouraging. July 2nd, 1997. It's happening. We've gotten word that a crime scene in Los Angeles reportedly contains mangled skin bodies. LA is experiencing a record heat wave, which correlates with data suggesting ambient heat is a factor when predators choose their hunting grounds. I'm convinced we're experiencing a new encounter. The field team boarded a plane hours ago and should be on site before the end of the day. To maintain
Getting mudded up.
2 to 1, this is Zeus. Double time it to the pumping station. Access pump control and determine what the guerrillas are doing.
Cover me. Medical supplies.
They've reversed the system to pump fresh water from the river into the irrigation system. Dangerous. It wasn't designed to do that. Reverse the following valves. Trust me when I tell you to keep moving and stay together. We have a mission to complete.
This way. There! I'm down and I'm bleeding bad. Check it. Hold up.
Don't like the sound of that.
Smoke out. You're going audio control. Hunt this on. Let's trust the game.
Need to get stitched up.
Get on the pump controls and try to initiate depressurization. It's gonna make some noise, so prepare for hostiles.
Over there. See it. Just there. Check these coordinates.
Send it in backup!
Shit! Tripped something.
We have intruders in the area. Be on alert. Shoot anything that moves. By the sound of radio chatter, they know something's up. Be careful.
God, it's bleeding bad! I can get up on my own.
You ain't gonna die today. Eyes open.
Arise. Enemy spotted.
I don't like the sound of that.
This way. See it.
speak up. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Coordinates.
First aid.
I'm bleeding out!
Over there!
Come on, man! I'm fucking dying out here! Come on, man! I'm fucking dying out here!
Over here.
I owe you one. Yeah.
Still gross.
This'll do.
Need patching up. Need patching up.
We'd hoped to have a better answer before you got here, but we came up short. If all else fails, we've been ordered to render the system useless for all parties. Sending you locations and weaknesses in the pipe to fire on.
I think that's all of them.
I'm reaching flatline. Keep it together, Voodoo.
The tales of ancient warriors, hunters that turned on their leaders, and the traditions that are passed down by each generation.
Need help up!
We know this species as predators. They are an alien race of hunters that live by their own code of honor and rules. Coming from the far reaches of space, they travel to many worlds to hunt the worthiest prey, to see who amongst them is the strongest. But what about their weapons, their society, and culture? What more can we learn about them?
Anytime.
This video will cover 1 hour of different topics in the Predator universe. These are things I have discussed in the past. Things like their hierarchy system, members who defy the honor system and become bad bloods, the story of when Batman fought the Predator on different occasions, the most powerful Predator known as the Clan Leader, a look into the lore about Vasily Rykov in the 2001 game AVP2, the design and function of some of their weapons, along with some other stories. If you enjoy these 1 hour videos, leave a like rating. For your convenience, I will provide timestamps, so let's get started.
I just found a way to get you guys some help. Marking your map.
Why do predators hunt? A look at their hierarchy and honor system. The predator race has been seen throughout many sources, and they've been known to hunt man, xenomorphs, hybrids, and other species.
I'm reaching the flatline.
They come from a planet called the Owlf Prime, which is ruled by elder predators. This planet is known to have 2 suns, and is within close proximity of other planets. It is here where young Yautjas are sent out in packs of 3 to partake in a traditional hunt. These 3 young hunters must learn to coordinate together, and they must slay a creature known as a Quetzal Ridge. Now another predator oversees this event, and it wears a ceremonial mask made from Quetzal Ridge bone. If the young predators manage to defeat this creature, they are accepted as legitimate hunters. This hunt is meant to teach young predators the value of teamwork, and to put their hunting skills to the test. The ceremonial mask is decorated in different ways, but one of its features that carries the most significance are the 3 circles on the forehead. This symbol represents unity and teamwork, and it's also the same symbol for the predators targeting lasers. After many years of hunting experience, these same young bloods will go through another rite of passage. They will return to one of their many sacred pyramids. During this event, they will face the xenomorph species for the first time. They are extremely dangerous. They are known to attack in groups to either kill you or to use you as a host for incubation. In this rite of passage, the young hunters must retrieve their plasma caster weapons. Once again, they are sent in as a pack of 3 and must work together. The xenomorph species are strong, able to climb walls, and leap great distances. Their entire body is considered to be a weapon. They have claws, a sharp tail, inner jaws, and even their death is lethal due to their acidic blood. The young predators must make their way through the pyramid as the walls shift to create new passages. Once a xenomorph is killed, the predators would mark themselves with the blood of their kill. If they survive this encounter, their mothership would return to pick them up, and their status within the Within the lore of the Predator universe, there have been many types of hunters in different stories. We have the traditions that follow the code of honor, which are the most common. During a time long ago, there was a story of how the tribes became separated, all from the actions of Nightstorm Predator. This created the Bad Bloods, honorless hunters that hunt other predators. There's also the Enforcer Predators. They hunt down the Bad Bloods in return. Both of them which made an appearance in the comic books. So there's more to the species than what is shown on film. But with new characters appearing in Predator hunting grounds, we can now look at a few more additions to the lore. This gives us a chance to look into other types of hunters, specifically the Samurai Predator and the Viking Predator. Before we start, make sure you leave a like rating on the video. With that being said, let's begin. The Samurai Predator went to hunt in Japan during days when it was particularly hot. The samurai warriors heard his spaceship arrive and interpreted it as a bad omen before heading off to fight him. In the distance, the samurai warriors heard the echoes of its attacks and attempted to fight this invisible demon. As they fought with courage, honor, and using all of their skill, all of them would fail. Even the most elite warriors would never return home alive. This ritual went on for centuries until the modern day. It was seen as a demon from legend that once hunted skilled warriors who protected feudal Japan. As time passed by, this hunter became a Japanese legend known only as the demon from the sky. The lore about this predator is explained in this way. This class of predator comes from an ancient Japanese legend that brings to life the tale of this demon from...
2-1, this is Zeus. Double time it to the pumping station. All camps in the area are on high alert. Intruders have been spotted in the vicinity. Before any further... Well, now the area knows we're here. Let's hope they don't find you. They've reversed the system to pump fresh water from the river into the irrigation system. Dangerous. It wasn't designed to do that. Reverse the following valves. Five team members down. Stick to the mission. I'm seeing the team split up. I would advise against this fire team. Reinforcements are on the way. Got some help for you, Voodoo. Just make it to this location on your map. Be careful, fire team. You are drifting apart. Tighten up.
This is the Owlf. You have encountered a classified anomaly that must be taken into our custody. Hold your position and protect the body at all costs. We will see that you are amply rewarded for your services to
Capture the specimen and are preparing it for extraction. Destroy the evidence! Voodoo, get back together. You're too far apart.
Coming in now, Voodoo. Hold your position for pickup. Given its condition, this body will be invaluable to our research department. Your bonus will reflect the work you've done today.
The sky. During the hottest of days, when the sun bit the necks of farmers of this island nation, a rushing sound, unlike any other, echoed across the sky. The samurai warriors would recognize this omen and don their weaponry to fight the invisible demon. Year after year, the most elite of warriors would fall honorably to this Yaochua in it. What's up, everyone? Acid Glow tapes about Dutch are also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident. These tapes are my personal testimony Insurance. Should anything happen to me, what I found won't be lost. My team was brought in to rescue a Guatemalan cabinet minister and his aide who had been captured by guerrilla forces in Valverde. We located their downed helicopter, and the skinned bodies of those on board hung in nearby trees, seemingly at the hands of the guerrilla fighters. After assaulting their camp, it became clear that the mission was a setup. American intelligence had sent us to retrieve the captured agents who had been on recon for a future military action, but none of that mattered anymore. Because while we were clearing out the guerrillas, something was hunting us. An invisible killer tracked us. As we made our way to the extraction point, in 24 hours, it wiped out my entire team. Rick Hawkins, Blaine Cooper, Mac Elliott, Billy Soul, Jorge Ramirez, and Al Dillon. The best soldiers I've ever known, men I trusted my life, were butchered like animals. It was a nightmare. We walked in with guns on and had a perfect camouflage, advanced weaponry, and could see heat. It was strong and smart. A pitiless hunter. I waited, I watched, and when I understood it, when I saw how it hunted, I killed it. As it lay dying in a final FU, it activated an explosion device. I barely escaped the blast. My radiation sickness and the crater of that explosion are the only evidence it was ever here. I've given my official statement to Agent Peter Keyes of the OWLF, but it's become...
Fire team is go. Good luck out there. This is Zeus. Follow the coordinates to the Stargazer camp and stand by for further orders. Huh. Place charges and prepare to blow the door. Hostiles have been confirmed in the area. Alert all camps and keep your comms open. Now they know you're in the area. Keep your heads down. Fire team, you've got incoming. Clear the area. Use a ton of radio chatter. They know you're there.
Mark.
Got eyes on an armored jeep. Contact.
The door is down. Take the target out.
What was that?
Enemy spotted. Got eyes on a
Grab as much intel as you can. We're sending a message. Don't fuck with us.
Hold up.
Destroy their servers. This has to hurt if they're gonna remember it.
Button up.
Got over the intel you submitted, and there's an admin key with substantial permissions on Stargazer network. I'm sending you coordinates to a different camp. We've got an idea.
ammo here.
A flying camera.
Give me access to their terminal. I want to try something.
Think we've been made.
That's heavily gassed. We have broad access to a number of systems. Plug into their SATCOM. Reinforcements are on the way!
Yeah, I see you.
Oh, fuck. This mission just got a lot more complicated. Stay frosty, fire team.
Like that?
Armored hostile!
Shut up. You ain't got time to bleed.
I get patched up. Time to stitch up.
Shit. We tripped the security protocols. Voodoo 1, prepare for incoming.
First aid.
This better work.
Damn it. We're this close to wrecking their back end. Security protocols cut the power. Reboot that generator.
Just over there.
Loading. Patched up.
Right over here.
Take his phone home to hell.
Cover me, I'm reloading.
This is the Owlf. We have authority over this incident and are assuming command. Your orders are to secure the body until our agents can intervene. Cooperation will be rewarded.
We'll let them take that body.
Listen to me. We can't let this thing fall into the wrong hands.
Hostile spotted.
Target is on the objective.
PMC armor unit.
Send it in backup.
Somebody get me some ammo. The double.
Almost there, Voodoo. Hold tight.
That armor.
Good job, soldiers. This specimen is in excellent condition. A substantial bonus is being wired to your account.
Keyes was thorough, but he asked all the wrong questions. We have proof of alien life, but that life sees us as game. It's an alien whose first contact with humanity was to hunt us for sport. All Keyes cared about was the technology lost in that explosion. He can't see the jungle for the trees. I see the threat. He sees the opportunity. Spies are all the same. I mean, we are not people to them. We're just assets. How many soldiers will you feed to those monsters? Just for a chance to steal from them or to learn from them. The government can't be trusted. So, I'll have to do this on my own. I'm cutting treatment short and going off the grid. I will make my way back to South America, to Valverde. I was told there were stories about demons who make trophies of man. I'd like to hear those stories. April 8th, 1991. I'm not dead yet. I'll admit, I regret not curing my radiation sickness before I left. It made leaving the country difficult. I cashed in a few favors, took one too many off-the-books flights in rusted-out buckets, but I made it back to Valverde. The area was in lockdown, sealed by American intelligence for study. The complex centered on the crater from the aliens' self-destruction. I found a scientist.
Guerrillas in the area have received substantial financial backing in order to build an expensive solar power network. Our techs have uncovered a fatal flaw in the power system that could allow us to turn it into a very expensive hunk of scrap. Exploiting this flaw correctly will permanently brick the entire system. So let's do this one by the numbers. Fire team, drop! Go, go, go!
Getting mudded up!
Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. Proceed to location Alpha and await further orders. I gotta figure out these instructions from technical.
Reloading.
Okay, give me a second. Step 1. We need to analyze the network to pinpoint the exploit. So if I'm reading this right, install the scanners on the following solar panel substation junctions. together, Voodoo.
Fuck me.
What am I looking at?
Marking a reinforcement location on your map. Step 2. Initialize the system scan and wait for the analysis to compile. This will likely trigger the network alarm, so expect resistance.
Get over here!
5 team members down. Stick to the mission. I'm reading a flatline. Keep it together, Voodoo.
Established and funded government program designed to procure alien technologies and information primarily from the Yautja species that commonly visits Earth. The main goal was to obtain an array of alien technologies such as
Clear the area
weaponry,
until we know where the
defensive
system's
technologies,
vulnerable.
and medical technologies, etc., with the secondary aim to capture a live Yautja specimen to examine and study for any potential scientific benefits. The OWLF was first seen in timeline in South America, in Valverda, in the year
Valverda, baby.
1927, following Dutch Schaefer's epic encounter with the jungle hunter predator. They monitored at a distance the events that occurred, and after Dutch escaped, Agent Peter Keyes travelled there to the hospital with a group of armed agents, where they tried to attempt to pull information from him about the events with the jungle hunter. He gave them some locations and descriptions of the predator's appearance and fighting styles. So Keyes sent an investigation party to Valverda, discovering the site where the predator's self-destruct was activated.
Hospital spotted.
Question how the Yautja had arrived on Earth was still a mystery, and they suspected that it had arrived via ship that was sent to launch near the vacated planet if the Yautja was killed, to keep maintaining their technology. Back at the hospital, Dutch is able to successfully evade capture, and he escapes, disappearing, and he would never be heard from again. Almost 10 years later, in 1997, in the city of Los Angeles, the OWLF team under the command of Agent Keyes intended to capture a Yautja hunter that had begun a violent rampage.
Your boy Keyes.
Gangs. They nicknamed this Yautja the City Hunter.
Step 3.
However, the program butted heads with the LAPD detective, Lieutenant Michael Harrigan. who was hot on the trail of the city hunter, following the mass of bodies piling up in its wake. To conceal themselves and their intentions, they posed themselves as an elite task force of the DEA agency, investigating the gangs of the city and the mass murdering occurring. Despite this, Harrigan began to suspect that there was an ulterior motive, and eventually discovered OWLF finally tracked
Get back
the
on your
subjects in the house in the warehouse district, who would be seen feeding on raw meat. They developed a plan to capture the creature using liquid nitrogen cannons in temperature camouflaging suits, but the mission ended in failure and resulted in the deaths of several operatives, including Keys. Afterwards, Agent Garber assumed command. However, Garber and the other remaining members of the team were subsequently forced to flee the city in the face of arriving police backup. After many years, the Yautja presence on Earth begins to dwindle, and big budgetary setbacks are faced by the OWLF program.
Okay.
This leads to them eventually rebranding and trying to revitalize under the new name Project Stargazer. Funding for this project is low, and as of the late 2010s, there is still little hope that they will again be able to get their hands on any Yautja technology or specimens. To kill two birds with one stone, the project put together an elite military unit of mercenaries they call the Reapers. The Reapers were then put up for loan to the CIA, who would often use them to assault things like drug labs and cartels, like they did in the Central American jungle in 2018. This supplied the project with the funds it needed to remain in practice, whilst also hoping to catch the attention of any Yautja hunters watching these Reapers, whose skills and prowess increased with each contract. It had been around 20 years since the government program had seen their last encounter with a Yautja, and the operational control overseer, General Woodhurst, harbours the fear that the project will soon be cancelled if they can't produce something soon. With this in mind, he travels to Washington, D.C. with the CIA agent William Traeger. And the two discuss the pros and cons of going outside the government into the private sector for funding. In Woodhurst's absence, Stargazer falls into Papa Elliot's control, who himself is a former CIA agent who has survived a Yautja encounter during the Vietnam War. Finally, they had a lead. They received reports of some mass gruesome slaughterings in Florida. The Reapers immediately mobilized and finally engage a lone Yautja, after the police in the area attempt to raid a meth lab, which they suspect will draw the attention of the Yautja hunter, which turns out to be correct. After they find the Yautja attacking and killing both the police and meth dealers, they engage, and through the course of a long and bloody confrontation, they leave with half the Reapers they went in with, but do succeed in capturing the creature alive. They move the creature back to the project's Georgia facility, where scientists begin conducting all manner of tests on both the creature and its technology. Woodhurst is informed of the current events, although he is shocked by the loss of so many Reapers. He understands now that the Stargazer's funding issue will be a thing of the past, now that they have tied Yautja and invented this technology to their grasp. However, this achievement is quite short-lived, as during the night the creature escapes, who was apparently assisted by one of the trained men. Happy attempts to stop the fleeing creature, but is killed in the process. This tremendous failure forces the Reapers back into action once again, and they become determined to catch and kill the creature before it can flee Earth. The Reapers notice that the Yautja is being pursued by another third party piloting a helicopter. Woodhurst receives
accomplished, fire team. The heroics of those left behind won't be forgotten.
The organization is known as Project Stargazer. Their main purpose seems to be tracking down and capturing aliens, as we see in the trailer with a predator strapped to a table in their base. likely to gain their technology for their own purposes. This isn't the first time this has been present in the Predator franchise, as Predator 2 had a similar group called the Otherworld Lifeform Task Force, or OWLF for short. This organization was originally run by Peter Keyes, played by Gary Busey, and throughout the film they intended to capture the film's predator, the City Hunter, to gain access to its technology. In fact, this group apparently also investigated Valverde after Dutch Schaefer's encounter with the Jungle Hunter, but the OWLF ended up leaving with very little results because the Jungle Hunter's ship returned to Yacha Prime upon its death. Not that the group realized that at the time. During their encounter with the City Hunter, they used things like liquid nitrogen cannons, as well as suits that masked their body temperature. However, their mission ended up going bust, and many of them, including Keyes himself, were killed. Though the organization still apparently stuck around afterwards under new leadership. Flash forward to now, and Project Stargazer seems to be a continuation of this idea, considering their similar motives. However, a big connection to them was done through casting of Gary Busey's real-world son, Jake, as a member of the organization. This was done intentionally, as Jake Busey's character is named Sean Keyes and is the son of Peter Keyes from Predator 2. So it looks like he'll be following in his father's footsteps of trying to gain alien tech from the Predators. From what we've seen so far, it looks like Will Traeger is running the organization and is trying to recruit Olivia Munn's Casey Brackett. She's on their list for recruitment because she studies evolutionary biology. So her role will likely be to learn more about the Predators to help them further their goal of gaining more power through alien resources. Also, the group's base is apparently called Area 52, so you know it must be cool. That's one better than Area 51. Well,
type of nanotechnology. It forms body armor and it has enhanced weaponry. This is simply called the Predator Killer. So the movie ends, and what next? Well, part of the story is continued in the new video game Predator Hunting Grounds. While the game is mostly based off multiplayer at the time of this recording, it still does have some lore connected to the Predator movie in 2018. It says here that Stargazer was a former independent government contractor turned rogue international arms dealer. After the Stargazer incident in 2018, the entire program was shut down due to the massive security breach. OWLF reclaimed its place while bitter ex-agents of Stargazer stole intel and technology gathered from Predators to form a black market arms manufacturer. The Stargazer group would hire elite private military contractors. They were to keep the guerrilla encampments functional and ready to respond in case there was a Predator sighting nearby. You would also come across various groups of contracted mercenaries in the jungle. These groups would generate chaos on behalf of Stargazer. Countries with hot climates and destroyed by war is the perfect hunting ground. Stargazer was intentionally cultivating a spot that would lure a predator. If we look back in the first Predator movie, a similar setting was seen. Various
Fire team is go. Good luck out there. This is Zeus. There's a radar camp in the area that acts as a distribution hub for all Stargazer communications. That's where we'll begin. Move out.
Look, we need to get out of here.
Find a radio and set the voice modulator next to it. Then just let the AI do its work. AI is sampling voices as they broadcast, so it's gonna take time. Make sure no one interrupts the process. I'm reading the flat line. Keep it together, Voodoo. Send it back. We have intruders in the air. Expect more resistance. They know you're here now.
What just happened? Somebody help me! Help me! Spread out. Search the area. I'm down!
The program was shut down and replaced with Stargazer. They were given the task of hunting down predators up until 2018. Now, after the events in the Predator movie in 2018, Stargazer was shut down and replaced with the original Owlf team. This was the group from Predator 2. This is because Stargazer was not able to handle the situation, which led to a massive security breach. So what happened to Stargazer after this? Well, they turned into a black market arms manufacturer. While they were still interested in hunting down predators and studying their technology, they were no longer under the watchful eye of that government. After the Stargazer incident, numerous scientific discoveries were made. The team had recovered metal shards from the blast site or technology left behind. By combining raw iron ore with metal used in Predator armor and weaponry, they created Veritanium. While they could not duplicate the components of the Predator armor, they decided to merge them together, creating a hybrid material. What made Veritanium so unique was that it enhanced the strength in steel, like its formability, durability, tensile, and yield strength, all while avoiding its previous limitations. It wasn't long until other governments, agencies, and corporations were racing to get a hold of as much Veritanium as they could. According to Predator history and lore about their culture, it is forbidden for other species to claim the technology of the Yautja species. This is why all hunters are fitted with self-destruct devices to avoid capture or if they are unable to fight back. That's probably why these predators are in the game, hunting those who took their technology. So that covers what happened after the Predator movie in 2018. I didn't expect this new game to have a story tied into it, but it's a welcome addition to the lore of the Predator universe. What's up, everyone? So we have some more lore on the Yautja species, but this time it's regarding the audio recordings found in Predator hunting grounds. My previous lore video around this game had me going over the main story of the game. While there is no actual story mode, The game did have a reason for the predators being in this jungle.
Due to a recent
The lore I
train
covered
accident,
in the other
locals are
video
incapable
tells
of
us
resuming
that the
the trade
timeline of
commodities.
predator hunting grounds
Specifically, a
takes
tanker
place
of crude
right
oil was
after
ready to
the
ship
last
once the
Predator
wreckage is
movie in
cleared.
2018.
Unfortunately,
The
guerrilla
audio
soldiers
recordings in the
secured
game
area.
give us more
We're
backstory.
allocating extra
The
choppers
voice
to
you
lift
hear
the
is from
tanker out of
Special
the train
Agent
yard.
Sean Keyes,
Something of a
the son of
humanitarian
Agent
action, so
Peter
let's make
Keyes
it count.
from the Predator 2 film. These audio recordings give us a lot of lore that answers a bunch of questions. For example, what happened to Dutch after Predator? I covered this topic in 2 previous videos, but now we have more information. Also, what happened to the gear and weapons the city hunter left behind in the movie Predator 2, like his shoulder cannon, biomass, combat stick, and wrist computer? We can finally get a clear picture of how the story unfolded with various characters. I'm going to read out each audio log. There's a lot to go over, so let's get started. This
I hope this is mud.
Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. Make your way to the train yard.
Huh. Weapon cache found. Weapons dry. Reload.
All camps in the area are on high alert. Intruders have been spotted in the vicinity. Report any further. I've got radios lighting up. They're gonna be looking for you, fire team. Grab those keys. Hopefully they go to the foreman's office.
Cover me.
Check the foreman's office and confirm we have the right tanker. It'd be a damn shame to grab the wrong one.
Lay down some fire. I'm heading to the alarm.
We're as sure as we can be, so I'm sending coordinates to the tanker.
Huh.
Plant a transponder to guide in the choppers. Voodoo, stick to your mission. You wouldn't believe me if I told you what's out there. Choppers inbound. Voodoo 1, stand by. Reinforcements are on the way.
Mark it.
Hook up the lines from the choppers to the tank. Make sure they're secure.
Watch my 6.
We have a second train on standby just on the other side of the wreck. Get there. If you have time, pray the choppers can lift that thing.
Check it.
Check it. I see its camo.
My leg! Drag out.
Now give it a nudge so it locks up to the engine.
Feels rough. Think we've been made. That ought to... Cover me! I got this!
Run it, Will.
Getting the train started. Stand by, Motor 1. You've got company inbound.
Contact the limit.
Send it in back up!
This way.
Mark it on the field scene.
Package is away. Nice work, fire team. Hopefully that'll help get this region back on track. Sending coordinates for exfil.
Fuck yeah, let's head to the exit. First aid found. Time to stitch up.
This looks interesting.
Ammo here.
Orders received. En route to extraction zone. Hostiles are attempting to escape. Stop them now! Reinforcements are on the way! Voodoo, I'm seeing a secondary objective nearby. Up to you if you want to make some extra cash. Life team members down. Stick to the mission.
Contact! Hold it, spot. We're almost out of here.
Stick around, Voodoo. You got 30 seconds and I'm gone.
Looking for some ammo.
I'm not doing so good.
It's not easy losing soldiers, but you kept your head and completed the mission.
It forms body armor and it has enhanced weaponry. I was in Los Angeles that night, prepping the mobile lab, and he too showed up in LA to help track down this city hunter. But limited resources kept him from getting here in time to do anything. The part where it says Dutch vanished from Owlf custody somewhat matches the novel of Predator 2. After Peter Keyes interviewed Dutch about the jungle hunter in Valverde, the novel says Dutch remained in the hospital to recover, but he broke out and disappeared. Peter Keyes was sure Dutch would return someday. Now we learn that Dutch was just hiding and secretly working with Peter Keyes to hunt down more predators. July 11th, 1997. Dutch has been surprisingly helpful to our efforts. He knew my father and was sympathetic about his death. He's offered to help us in exchange for funding a team. Dutch would be our on-site agent for any alien incursion. When he says he knows them, knows how they hunt, I believe him. If Dutch could start bringing back bodies, technology, or even just first-hand accounts, we could make huge advancements. Before he left, Dutch brought out what I had seen briefly in the alley, a collapsible spear. The same one the city hunter used against Harrigan. He wanted to keep it as his down payment. While advanced, the spear was relatively rudimentary. I was reluctant to let it go, but it seemed like a good faith investment. Though, I doubt I could have stopped him anyway. The good news is that Dutch gave us a fully functioning alien helmet. Easily the better part of the bargain. Besides, the wealth of knowledge the helmet and arm would bring us would alone change the course of history. My father's passing has been difficult, but everything was finally coming together. It seems now that both Dutch and I are in this together, which makes for a strange kind of closure. September 21st, 1997. My father's associate and close friend, Agent Adam Garber, has been chosen to head up the Owlf operations, but has chosen to help him directly with research and operational efforts. We managed to secure a massive extension to our funding after we presented the helmet and severed Predator arm. After discussing it with Garber, I convinced him to keep Dutch and his crew off the record as much as possible. Dutch can do so much more working alongside us than he ever could working for us officially. Appropriated funds for Dutch and his team have been marked as cleaning services. Studying the arm has revealed so much about predator physiology, and we are just now scratching the surface of what this helmet can do. There's also a damaged computer still attached to the wrist, which must have been destroyed by whatever severed the arm. It will be a slow process deconstructing, analyzing, and reverse engineering the alien technology. But every discovery will be monumental. as we learned more and more from a species so much more advanced than our own. December 1st, 1997, we ran extensive genetic tests on the arm, results of which could lead to huge medical breakthroughs. It also gives us clues to the atmospheric makeup of their homeworld and how viable it would be to sustain human life, should we ever find a way to get there. Judging by the elasticity of the skin, we're thinking the city hunter was a juvenile of the species. This would line up with Detective Harrigan's account of the LA encounter. With that in mind, one could theorize that its hunt may have been an initiation into adulthood. Carbon dating of the bone structure puts the city hunter's age at a minimum of 300 years, which draws into question the lifespan of a predator. If our assumptions are correct, we could be talking upwards to 1,000 years, possibly more. The mass likely in one day utilitarian item as a predator, but the technology involved is staggering. Aside from the respirator functions, the visor built into the mask is capable of displaying multiple visual frequencies. This explains how the city hunter not only kills
This man has been identified as Steve Harris. Take him out and get his keys.
What still confuses me is how with such extraordinary technology, the predators express a seemingly tribal culture. They have such a strong focus on honor, trophies, and worthy opponents,
Like a good
things we left behind as our own species has developed. Is it possible that these technological advances were not developed by the predator species, but instead human competitors? So that answers the first part of this video.
Grab any intel you can find.
The first and second predator movie, we now have a much more clear understanding of what happened to Dutch and who found the technology left behind by the city hunter in the second movie. Welcome back, everyone. So this is part 2 of the lore within Predator Hunting Grounds. If you saw the previous video, we went over the first 10 audio logs that are collectible in the game, each one giving us a backstory after the events of the first Predator movie and leading into Predator 2. Now, with Dutch returning to the story, he teams up with Sean Keyes to unravel the mystery of the hunters we know as Predators. This video will cover the audio logs from number 11 to number 20. If you want to hear the story from number 1 through number 10, then check out the previous video. So let's continue and find out what happens to Dutch from here. March 12, 1998. We've had our first strong lead since the LA encounter. At 2 a.m., a special forces group in Cambodia with MIA. The Owlf was alerted about the missing soldiers with skinned bodies flagged in an update to military intelligence. We dispatched Dutch and his crew to the location within hours. Our research suggests that the Predator hunting grounds are active for roughly a week. Then we assume they return to their homeworld.
Get ready, dude. Hostiles incoming. Looking at some of this intel, and it looks like they have chemical shipments nearby. I think they were ready for bigger production. Let's burn that, too.
Dutch's team is highly effective at dealing with the menace as it is now. But, unless we develop an advanced strategy, is not prepared to face the invasion. March 19th, 1999, Dutch's team managed to secure an intact piece of the Predator weaponry. They tracked and killed the Predator while somehow snagging its shoulder cannon before a group of elders showed up for the body, exactly as it happened in LA. The elders either did not know or did not care that Dutch stole the gun, but goddamn, I'm glad we managed to keep it. I have to keep running.
Marking your map.
There was an unnatural connection between the weapon and the Predator itself, which could imply advanced biometric controls.
Applying camo!
There could be a more direct connection with its mask. So many possibilities, with only time and rigorous testing.
Light him up. Send it in back up. I've seen the team split up. I would advise against this fire team.
I'm out. Reloading.
Oh.
Spread out.
Big boy spotted.
Shit!
On receipt. Send in reinforcement. That definitely got their attention. Watch it, fire team. Be careful, fire team. He was drifting apart. Tighten up. Fire team members down. Stick to the mission.
Taking cover!
Tough guy.
I'm reading the flat line. Keep it together, Voodoo.
Will tell. What's of paramount importance is that we don't blow ourselves up along the way. It's April 4th, 2001. While I've had basic training, I usually stay away from field duty. However, it seemed prudent to have first-hand knowledge of the predators. As Dutch continues to prove himself an expert tracker, I was guaranteed a sighting if I went on the next mission. I opted out of arming myself, as previous accounts describe predators sparring the unarmed. Killing a defenseless target must be seen as dishonorable. After infiltration, we quickly walked into a guerrilla ambush. At this particular moment, I regretted my decision to go unarmed, but I kept my head down while Dutch and his team did their work. After the dust settled, we heard a deafening roar. In the clearing stood a massive predator. It had no mask, staring Dutch down in complete silence. After what seemed like minutes, it let out another roar and charged us. As it was closing in, the predator threw a knife that missed Dutch, but grazed my arm. Unfazed, Dutch grabbed a spear from his back and thrust it into the predator's chest. The spear must have missed any vital organs, as the predator continued to fight Dutch before escaping into the jungle. Minutes later, we felt the ground rumble, as a spacecraft lifted into the air and then left the planet entirely. While I paid for it in physical trauma, I'm glad to have seen it in person. I can't say I'm disappointed in what I saw. October 27, 2004. We have officially secured a predator's body. Granted, it's pretty shot up, but it'll give us a wealth of information on their biology. I considered asking Dutch's team to look into less damaging methods of subduing the predator, but decided against it. Still, Dutch and his team somehow achieved body exfiltration before it was intercepted or destroyed. While examinations of the body are ongoing, we're running parallel tests on the plasma caster weapon. No attempts at firing it have been made, as we're still trying to figure out if it's functional. My hope is that we can obtain more of these weapons for comparison, which would hopefully lead to replicating the technology. Having the weapon of our enemy would dramatically increase our odds in an all-out conflict. July 8, 2007. Today is the 10th anniversary of my father's death in Los Angeles.
Intel suggests
Because of his contributions to the Owlf,
remote
The very
guerrilla
building I'm
camp.
sitting in was named
We're not
in
sure
his
why,
honor.
but our money's on
Nothing
using the
stood in
guerrilla
the way
camp
of
to
his
avoid
drive,
suspicion while they
passion,
find
and
a
desire
buyer.
to
We
learn
don't
the
know who
secrets
procured
of
the
the
weapons
universe.
or who's
With
buying them,
everything we've
but nothing
accomplished
good can
since
come
his
from
death,
it.
I'd like to think he'd be proud. The best way to honor him now is to make sure his legacy lives on. Our team will continue to make history in the name of Peter Keyes. March 10th, 2008, the team is pretty shaken. On our last mission, Dutch's crew was killed. We dispatched his team to a hunting ground near a small village, but the entire village was empty. Investigating the scene revealed a fresh with skull and spine impaled and dangling on a predator spear at the center of the village. That's when all hell broke loose. The team could not find a target, as one by one they were picked off. Dutch got the survivors into cover and offered himself up as a challenge. As he drew his own spear, within seconds, he stood face to face.
Head to the camp with the following coordinates. We'll track down the weapon shipment from there. Find a terminal and access their shipping database. Hostiles have been confirmed in the area. Alert all camps and keep your comms open. Well, now the area knows we're here. Let's hope they don't find you. That's the trigger's knob. Send the reinforcements in now. Start searching the database. Intel believes the crates are logged as surplus humidifiers. Upload the search manifest to me and we'll find out where they're hiding the weapons.
Shred 'em up!
5 team members down. Stick to the mission. Reinforcements are on the way.
Armored trooper.
I'm reloading.
I'm reading the flatline. Keep it together, Voodoo. Got some help for you, Voodoo. Just make it to this location on your map. There's a crate nearby. Looks like it's heavily armored. Normal munitions aren't gonna cut it. Place a transponder on it. We'll hit it with a drone strike. Fuck! Voodoo 1, you have incoming hostiles. With all that jungle, we need the transponder action to guide the missile.
Armored.
Motherfucker!
Five team members down. Stick to the mission. Boom! Nailed it. The second crate's at the following coordinates.
2010, and things have been alarmingly calm, which is making me nervous. A short time after Dutch's brush with death, we had an energy surge that only affected the Predator equipment. We have no idea what caused the surge, and I can't tell if it damaged anything, but it was definitely some sort of localized anomaly. Granted, we've collected quite the assortment of Predator tech, but the possibility of losing even a few pieces is terrifying. I worry this has something to do with the emergence of the Predator female. Are they preparing for something? I doubt they decided to leave Earth alone. Either way, we're in a holding pattern until the next encounter. But with this Predator drought, we may be out of luck. March 3rd, 2015. With Predator encounters dwindling, our funding has been adjusted accordingly. I know the other intelligence branches have been eager to get our section closed, as they're not privy to what exactly we're doing. They know we're in research and development, but we have not produced any weaponry or technology that's ready for deployment, which was a major incentive for getting the Owlf established. As far as they know, we're just a bunch of UFO lunatics chasing conspiracy theories. The technology we've recovered would suffice, but there's so much more to what we do than just harvesting weapons or conventional warfare. Regardless, it seems we'll have to bite the bullet and do what we need to defend humanity against the Predator threat. If we throw the government some of our lesser breakthroughs, maybe that will keep the wolf at the door. Either way, we'll need a live specimen to make further significant strides. It seems that every encounter with Dutch leads to a dead Predator and broken gear, and that's only if another band of Predators does not show up to take the body. Long story short, something needs to start happening before OWLF may have to shutter. Final entry, August 29th, 2016. It's official, the abolishing OWLF. In my opinion, it was a certain central agency that stuck the final life in our back, but that's not relevant anymore. A group of private contractors pitched a task force to replace us, and it was approved. Because we blazed a trail of discovery, they were able to swoop in and overpromise without putting in any legwork. Because of their prior weapon development experience and the guarantee of a live Predator within 1 year, they were swiftly green-lit. Many of our other agents, myself included, were given jobs on this new Project Stargazer. Since this is no longer the OWLF,
Got something here.
I suppose I don't need to record these anymore. It's not like anyone will hear them. The research department is being cataloged and classified as storage. Still, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, Dad. I tried to keep it going. I really did. I tried to find a way to keep this from happening to anyone else, but it was too much. Project Stargazer is nothing you built, but I will make sure I bring your mission with me. Fortunately, Dutch was able to stay out of our official works, but I'm sure I'll be hearing from him soon. And that's it. This is where the Lord had a small cameo appearance. He hunted predators, but lost the female predator. We can only wonder where the story goes from here. What will happen to Dutch if he's using predator blood samples to recover his history? Will this affect him in the future? We have yet to see. The story did make some connection between these two movies, so I gotta say, I did enjoy reading through these. What's up, everyone? Acid here. So the latest update to Predator Hunting Grounds is out, and with it came some audio tapes of Dutch from the 1987 movie Predator. These were voiced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. They tell the story of what Dutch has been doing after fishing with Valverde, which resulted in his entire team getting wiped out. These new tapes about Dutch are unlocked by your rank. 20 OWLF tapes in the game were recorded by Sean Keys, and it outlines other events in the story, which leads up to Predator Hunting Grounds. So let's go through these new tapes and see what we can learn. It's September 12, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident. These tapes are my personal testimony. Insurance, should anything happen to me, what I found won't be lost. My team was brought in to rescue a Guatemalan cabinet minister and his aide who had been captured by guerrilla forces in Valverde. We located their downed helicopter, and the skinned bodies of those on board hung in nearby trees, seemingly at the hands of the guerrilla fighters. After assaulting their camp, it became clear that the mission was a setup. American intelligence had sent us to retrieve the captured agents who had been on recon for a future military action, but none of that matters anymore. Because while we were clearing out the guerrillas, something was hunting us. An invisible killer tracked us. As we made our way to the extraction point, in 24 hours, it wiped out my entire team. Rick Hawkins, Blaine Cooper, Mac Elliott, Billy Soule, Jorge Ramirez, and Al Dillon. The best soldiers I've ever known, men I trusted my life, were butchered like animals. It was a nightmare. We walked in with guns, but it had the perfect camouflage, advanced weaponry, and could see heat. It was strong and smart. A pitiless hunter. I waited, I watched, and when I understood it, when I saw how it hunted, I killed it. As it lay dying, in a final FU, it activated an explosion device. I barely escaped the blast. My radiation sickness and the crater of that explosion are the only evidence it was ever here. I've given my official statement to Agent Peter Keyes of the OWLF, but it's become clear I need to investigate Valverde myself. Keyes was thorough, but he asked all the wrong questions. We have proof of alien life, but that life sees us as game. It's an alien whose first contact with humanity was to hunt us for sport. All Keyes cared about was the technology lost in that explosion. He can't see the jungle for the trees. I see the threat. He sees the opportunity. Spies are all the same. I mean, we are not people to them. We're just assets. How many soldiers will we feed to those monsters just for a chance to steal from them or to learn from them? The government can't be trusted. So I'll have to do this on my own. I'm cutting treatment short and going off the grid. I will make my way back to South America, to Valverde. I was told there were stories about demons who make trophies of man. I'd like to hear those stories. April 8th, 1991. I'm not dead yet. I'll admit, I regret not curing my radiation sickness before I left. It made leaving the country difficult. I cashed in a few favors with one too many off-the-books flights in rusted-out buckets, but I made it back to Valverde. The area was in lockdown, sealed by American intelligence for study. The complex centered on the crater from the aliens' self-destruction. I found a scientist slumming in a local bar. A few drinks, and a couple of threats later, he was ready to talk. It wasn't much, barely anything I didn't already know. The blast emitted a form of radiation they'd never seen before. Some believed it was extraterrestrial, some didn't. Either they're not that bright, or there's nothing to find. I decided to let them keep searching in vain. It kept them busy and off my trail. I've been touring villages and small towns, using the cover of an author writing about South America folklore. I don't know if any of them bought it, but they took my money. And see, one that understood and respected the threat. Project Stargazer. Our initial intelligence on Stargazer was that they were capable, funded, but inexperienced. But they were smart. They took the OWLF's funding and got us shut down. What's up, everyone? A corrupted AI computer called Toy. This artificial intelligence computer was seen in the comic books of Aliens vs. Predator, deadliest of this species. Like other aliens we've seen before, they have acid for blood, but they have the intelligence of humans and predators.
We've been tracking members of former CIA project Stargazer, and intel suggests they're working to link local bases to their global network. We have a short window to upload malware onto that network and create a backdoor into their system. Before that window closes, your team's got to establish terminal access, disable security countermeasures, and confirm the upload's complete. hunting. Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. Double time it to location Alpha and secure terminal access. We only get one shot at this, so stay frosty.
Get down!
They're over here!
Stay together, fire team. Stay together, fire team. Warm up.
The security terminal should be in a nearby building. Access it and I'll start searching their database for the transmitter's location.
Come the fuck on! Come the fuck on! You serious? Come the fuck on!
Okay, this should only take me a few sec... Oh, god damn it, lost connection. The solar panels must have cut out. Marking the units to reboot. Let's get the power back on. Sending in backup!
That ain't human.
Hostile spotted.
Power's back online. Reestablish access so I can finish this search. Got it. The satellite dish is up the road at another installation. Expect resistance.
Get over here.
5 team members down. Stick to the mission.
Getting mudded up.
Get this off me! Stay together, fire team. Stay together, fire team. You gotta be kidding.
Marking a reinforcement location on your map.
That move! Stay on
I'm
me!
reading the flatline. Keep it together, Voodoo.
Requesting reinforcements on my position.
Titan formation. Form up. Get to the chopper!
All camps in the area are on high alert. Intruders have been spotted in the vicinity. Report any further sightings immediately. Now they know you're in the area. Here, that's the mobile SATCOM. Before you start the upload, find and disable their firewall system. It should be somewhere in the camp.
Somebody help me!
Break that shit open and destroy the server blades.
Contact!
First aid.
Asshole over there.
Countermeasures are down. Get back to the SATCOM and start the upload.
First aid!
Transfer's going through. One of you will need to stay in range to monitor the... Oh, fuck. I think they're onto us. Hostiles inbound.
Get them off their jet!
Sending him back up.
Stay together, fire team.
Spotted! Reload! What's that shit they're covered in?
Get back on the objective.
Enemy spotted!
Shred him up!
Contact!
This is Special Agent Sean Keyes, Regional Director of the Otherworldly Life Form Task Force. February 23rd, 1996. After accepting this position, the team felt it would be a good idea to start recording self-destruct mechanism. My father and his team interviewed the survivor extensively while an OWLF survey team combed the blast area for any evidence. Besides some additional information on the species from the survivor, the team found very little to recover. It's been nearly 10 years since zero contact, but I hold out hope that this is a sign of things to come. December 3rd, 1996. Things have been moving slowly. I know it's been difficult, but there's finding a needle in 20 haystacks. I've spent most of my time sifting through hundreds of documents and countless data entries trying to understand the predators they received a wealth of knowledge that helped define how these creatures operate, luring and stalking prey, skinning them, making trophies of their bones. These are the hallmarks of the sport hunter, not a simple carnivore. Furthermore, it was completely disarmed. The predator removed its own weapons, suggesting a cultural system of honor. And after the first encounter, things started to fall in place. Some details and
focus on the
past
mission.
stories yielded more data in retrospect. These notes, looks like we've had multiple documented encounters over the past few years, but nothing that yielded more than stories and other anecdotal evidence. February 12th, 1997. The team here has spent the last few years working on countermeasures and other methods for hunting the hunters. If we can get the jump on one of these bastards and catch it alive, the world would change forever. It's strange that nothing has ever been recovered from urban found, although this isn't entirely surprising. The predator is perfectly designed for covert hunting. I mean, we can't see it because it employs advanced light-bending technology that renders it effectively invisible. However, it can see us perfectly through active infrared scanning, betrayed by our own natural body heat. Fortunately, the infrared isn't too advanced. Dutch Schaefer was able to evade the predator's sight by covering himself in cool mud. So this led the team to develop a bodysuit that similarly masks the wearer's infrared signature. It's happening. We got word that a crime scene in Los Angeles reportedly contains hanged, skinned bodies. LA is also experiencing a record heat wave, which correlates the data suggesting that ambient heat is a factor when predators choose their hunting grounds. And I'm convinced that we're experiencing a new encounter. The field team boarded a plane hours ago and should be on site before the end of the day. To maintain secrecy, my father and the OWLF agents are going undercover as DEA agents investigating drug trafficking in Los Angeles. Our intent is to capture the city hunter alive. Now, with this goal in mind, we've outfitted the team with infrared suits, nitrogen-based freezing mechanisms, and a broad surveillance package to monitor as much of the city as we can. I shouldn't get my hopes up, but this still could be some kind of, run-of-the-mill homicidal maniac, but I wouldn't put money on it until our team receives confirmation. We're holding back to prep the lab for receiving. A few days should be interesting. July 8th, 1997. I just received positive confirmation from the LA team. There is an active predator and its hunting ground is downtown Los Angeles. I still haven't fully processed this is actually happening, but I need to, and fast. The surveillance team has been tracking its movements, developing a consistent pattern for how they
communicating, and using firearms. Now the voice when they're speaking will be the voice used of their host, and they reproduce by normal methods of a predators tend to show more hostility when they're mentally unstable, which makes them more dangerous, as very few of them have very little honor left in them. Now, when it comes to combat, bad bloods will still use the
infiltrate, track down, and destroy any evidence of its existence. But before we do, let's make sure we secure as much related research material
a
as
strict
possible.
code of hunting rules. They travel to many worlds. And backstories, we can learn more about them. Not only are they hunters, but we have learned they do have a hierarchy and social system. Today's video will cover various aspects of the predators, such as ancient or elder predators. Once started the Civil War from the early days of the Yautja species. The story of Dutch's brother and his encounter with the predator. A
Marking the first location on your map now.
Titan formation. Complete the objective. Form up. Titan formation. Form up.
Holy shit, that's a lot of guards. They really don't want to lose this body. Take them all out, fire team. Voodoo, get back together! You're too far apart! Oh, fuck. This mission just got a lot more. You're gonna have to unload on that door. It shouldn't take too much, but time to go loud, Voodoo!
Don't lose them.
I'm seeing the team split up. I would advise against this, fire team. Looks like more guards are inside. Kill them. Fuck, they baited us. Nobody's here. Access the nearby terminal so I can do some digging. Stand by while I look around for where they moved the body. Hopefully it's not off-site. Landed in back up! Good news. They only shifted locations for security reasons when they caught wind of us making a move. Setting the nav point now.
Budding up. Complete the objective. Stay together, fire team. Reloading. Cover me. Titan formation.
What's with this shit? No way. No way! Are you serious? I just marked the ringleader in this op. Kill him and take his passcode.
Reloading. Enemy spotted.
Those passcodes should open the locked research door nearby.
Get patched up.
That worked? Perfect. Clear the room, fire team. Time is of the essence, fire team. Collect all the intel you can and grab a picture of the body.
Take it out before it arms up. We can try to disarm it, and we get the fuck out of that destroyed. Polarize the ignition switch. Go, go, go.
I'm reading a flatline. Keep it together, Voodoo.
Many would challenge the demon, but just like all the others, each of them would fail. For this predator was an experienced hunter, and its defeat would not come easily. If we look at the biomask, the design resembles an unmasked predator. This is a very unique feature, as other biomasks that we've seen before don't really show their own physical features. Its dreadlocks are also something we can look at. They are tied back and held upward, similar to the predator known as Topknot from the comic books. Now, the word Topknot is based on the concept of a Japanese hairstyle. Its most noticeable weapon of choice is a katana blade. This retractable, single-edged sword was used in many hunts throughout ancient Earth. The long blade produces heavy two-handed attacks against prey, and it causes temporary bleeding. The Viking predator can be traced back to when the Viking raiders consumed lands far from their own borders, and by doing so managed to draw attention they never imagined. The death and destruction throughout the world would bring a gift from the sky to challenge the most powerful and honorable warriors in battle. As the legends of this youch was spread, Norsemen saw an opportunity to gain an honorable death by way of this wanderer, so they continued to pursue glory. Over centuries, the strongest, bravest warriors would journey out raiding to lure this great force into ritual combat, with hopes of feasting in the halls of Valhalla. It is a massive predator that rivals even the Berserker class. It is stronger but slower than the Berserker. This makes it a ferocious adversary. Rather than using additional gear, they lean more on their own abilities as a show of strength. One weapon that it does carry throughout its hunts is the battle axe. Wielded by the Viking predator of the north, this powerful two-handed battle axe was forged for devastating close-range attacks against ferocious Norsemen. The secondary attack provides a heavy overhead swing with increased damage to any prey it finds. Few would ever look upon this blade without it cleaving their skull. There was also an elder predator added to the game, but the lore description was very short. Years of hunting experience has granted this Yautja the title of Elder. This class upholds honorable hunting traditions passed down through the centuries. The armor type is the same as the 1987 Jungle Hunter skin, but with slight changes to the color, attachments, and the dent in the helmet being removed. So that covers the lore around the Samurai Predator, Viking Predator, and the Elder Predator. These are available in the video game Predator Hunting Grounds. I think the Samurai Predator was one of the most requested types within the community. I've read a lot of comments from the fans, and this is one Predator they wanted to see. There's been a few figures of the Samurai Predator, one from the Hot Toys Company. Welcome back, everyone. But also worrying. If the number of Predator events is increasing, we will inevitably cross the threshold where there are too many to handle. Dutch's team is highly effective at dealing with the menace as it is now. But unless we develop an advantage, humanity is not prepared to face a Predator invasion. March 19th, 1999. Dutch's team managed to secure an intact piece of the Predator weaponry. They tracked and killed the Predator while somehow snagging its shoulder cannon before a group of elders showed up for the body, exactly as it happened in LA. The elders either did not know or did not care that Dutch stole the gun, but goddamn, I'm glad we managed to keep it. I had the team running preliminary tests on composition and rudimentary functionality. I'd like to get those nailed down before anyone even thinks about attempting to fire it. Based on how Dutch describes it, there was an unnatural connection between the weapon and the Predator itself, which could imply advanced biometric controls. Alternatively, there could be a more direct connection with its mask. So many possibilities, but only time and rigorous testing will tell. What's of paramount importance is that we don't blow ourselves up along the way. It's April 4th, 2001. While I've had basic training, I usually stay away from field duty. However, it seemed prudent to have first-hand knowledge of the Predators. As Dutch continues to prove himself an expert tracker, I was guaranteed a sighting if I went on the next mission. I opted out of arming myself, as previously described Predators sparring the unarmed. Killing a defenseless target must be seen as dishonorable. After infiltration, we quickly walked into a guerrilla ambush. At this particular moment, I regretted my decision to go unarmed, but I kept my head down while Dutch and his team did their work. After the dust settled, we heard a deafening roar. In the clearing stood a massive Predator. It had no mask, staring Dutch down in complete silence. After what seemed like minutes, it let out another roar and charged us. As it was closing in, the predator with a knife missed Dutch, but grazed my arm. Unfazed, Dutch grabbed a spear from his back and thrust it into the predator's chest. The spear must...
Mudding up.
Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. Make your way to the train yard.
Still works. Fuck.
I'm hitting the alarm!
Yeah. Good for the shimmy. You and me.
Keep moving and stick together. We have a mission to... What are you doing, fire team? We have a mission to complete.
hostile.
Objective nearby. Up to you if you want to make some extra cash.
Need first aid. Need to get stitched up. I need some first aid.
Need ammo.
Grab those keys. Hopefully they go to the foreman's office.
Someone put me back together. I need to get stitched up.
There.
Need medical supplies.
This way. Get patched up. Over here. Get in line, soldier. Get patched up.
You've got to be kidding me.
Check the foreman's office and confirm we have the right tanker. It'd be a damn shame to grab the wrong one. I've got help waiting for you, fire team. Marking the access point.
Oh.
While I paid for it in physical trauma, I'm glad to have seen it in person. I can't say I'm disappointed in what I saw. October 27, 2004. We have officially secured a Predator's body. Granted, it's pretty shot up, but it'll give us a wealth of information on their biology. I considered asking Dutch's team to look into less damaging methods of subduing the Predator, but decided against it. Still, Dutch and his team somehow achieved body exfiltration before it was intercepted or destroyed. While examinations of the body are ongoing, we're running parallel tests on the plasma caster weapon. No attempts at firing it have been made, as we're still trying to figure out if it's functional. My hope is that we can obtain more of these weapons for comparison, which would hopefully lead to replicating the technology. Having the weapon of our enemy would dramatically the species. Now, let's get started. What if a Pred alien was using Predator technology? What's up, everyone? Carlos here. So I wanted to cover two scenes that never made it into the final version of this movie, Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Now, when it illuminated by the pale blue light of the open doorway, the drying racks covered in human skins stand in the foreground. Ghostly illuminated by fire and moonlight, the hunters, in three-quarter profile, his eyes gleaming, rears into view, looking up at the sky, as if he has heard Bethany's cry. Responding with a low hiss, he turns back, raised. Script was still going by its early title of Hunter. This scene of
far behind in your mind. On it.
Stargazer's moving weapons to support a local coup. What interest they have in this upstart regime is unknown. However, any Stargazer intervention in government affairs is cause for action. Your orders are to ascertain the scope of the shipment, and we'll blow it to hell.
History and answer the question, what has Dutch been up to all these years, and how did he become an enhanced warrior operating in the shadows? Before we get into his story, I'd like to go ahead. Dutch was captured by Viet Cong forces, and he was tortured heavily during interrogations, to the point of becoming resistant to pain. He survived the war, years operating in different commando units, and missions, including one in 1979 where he was reunited with Hawk, and multiple operations in Thailand alongside Dylan. Over time, Dutch developed a strong moral code and left the United States Army in 1980 to set up his own private military company, where he could choose his own operations. Dutch's team saw action all over the world, performing impressive feats such as assaulting a building in Berlin,
Stay
Germany,
together, fire
killing
team.
7
Buddy up.
terrorists holding hostage.
Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. Infiltrate the Stargazer base at the following coordinates.
Stay together, fire team.
There's a connex inside that should be what we're looking for. Blast the lock. Be careful, fire team. You are drifting apart. Tighten up. Transmit images of what's inside so we can take a look. What the hell is going on? This is nothing. You can pick these up at the store. We gotta be missing something. Nothing. We don't have the whole story here. See if you can find anything that might lead us to those weapons. Looks like everything here has been marked as loaded for transport, so we're looking for a truck. Voodoo, get back together! You're too far apart!
What the shit?
Take out the driver.
Come on, man!
Send it in backup!
There they are. Eyes open. PMC. Come on. Get me up. I'm not dying today.
I'd like to keep all those guns in one place. Good work, fire team. Let's bring you home.
Get me up. I'm not dying today.
Oh, fuck. This mission just got a lot more complicated. Stay frosty, fire team.
Contact!
Contact. Still works. Form up. Stay together, fire team. Tighten formation. We need to get out of here. Get to the chopper!
Fuck this!
Get to the chopper! Look, we need to get out of here. Get to the chopper! Look, we need to get out. Nice. Very nice.
We've been made.
I'm seeing the orders received. They're trying to escape. Reinforcements are on the way.
Mudding up.
I see it!
I'm reading the flatline. Keep it together, Voodoo.
Come on. Focus on the mission.
Contact mark!
We need to get out of here. Get to the chopper.
Just a few more seconds, hold
Warm
on
up.
there!
Cut the net.
Can't move!
Hooked up.
Stick
Too
around,
fast.
Voodoo.
Will be Help me.
No! Keep me covered!
Get over here.
I'll start the necessary preparations. Good job wrapping this one up.
Wind of it, and the terrorists were destroyed before they even had a chance to issue demands. Dutch's team became increasingly in demand, and Dutch stuck strictly to his code. His team would only participate in rescue missions. But in 1987, he would go on a mission that would change his life forever. The events of the original Predator. Dutch and his team were sent in to the Central American country of Valverde, and he met there with Dylan. Scout agent of the CIA. Dylan needed Dutch and his team to make their way into nearby Guatemala to rescue a Captain Minute. To the question, what has Dutch been up to all these years, and how did he become an enhanced warrior operating in the shadows? Before we get into his story, I'd like to go ahead and introduce my Patreon
If you'd like to help support the channel and allow me to continue creating content like this for all time, you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month by clicking a link in the description or heading over to patreon.com/GameFilmTV. And for their continued support, I'd also like to thank my current patrons and channel members listed in the description. Major Alan Dutch Schaefer. In his early life was a young football star in his school days, and after he left college, he decided to join the military and attended boot camp in 1967, where he became close friends with a man named Jim Hopper. When the U.S. became heavily involved in the Vietnam War, Dutch went on to serve in multiple missions alongside another close friend, Al Dillon. At some point, Dutch was captured by Viet Cong forces, and he was tortured heavily during interrogations, to the point of becoming resistant to pain. He survived the war and spent years operating in different commando units, running missions, including one in 1979 where he was reunited with Hopper, and multiple operations in Thailand alongside Dillon. Over time, Dutch developed a strong moral code and left the United States Army in 1980 to set up his own private military company, where he could choose his own operations. Dutch's team saw action all over the world, performing impressive feats such as assaulting a building in Berlin, Germany, and killing 7 terrorists holding hostages within 10 seconds. The mission was so efficiently handled, the public press didn't even get wind of it, and the terrorists were destroyed before they even had a chance to issue demands. Dutch's team became increasingly in demand, and Dutch stuck strictly to his code. His team would only participate in rescue missions, but in 1987, he would go on a mission that would change his life forever. The events of the original Predator. Dutch and his team were sent in the Central American country of Valverde, and he met there with Dillon, who was now an agent with the CIA. Dillon needed Dutch and his team to make their way into nearby Guatemala to rescue a cabinet minister and his aide, captured by guerrilla forces. However, during the mission, Dutch discovered that the entire thing was a setup by Dillon. The hostages were actually CIA agents, and Dillon made the cover story to manipulate Dutch into wiping out the guerrilla fighters. He was infuriated, but the team discovered a threat beyond imagination in the jungle. They found several bodies hanging from the trees, completely skinned. American soldiers, one of them being his old friend Hopper he lost contact with over the years. While attempting to escape, Dutch's teammates were slaughtered one by a mysterious force, an invisible hunter hiding in the trees. An alien visitor from another world determined to hunt the strongest prey, the Predator. As night fell, Dutch was the only survivor from his unit and faced the creature one-on-one, setting up multiple traps for the monster, and it worked. The prey had become the hunter, and Dutch was victorious as the Predator was dying, bleeding out from its wounds. But as Dutch learned, a defeated Predator wouldn't go down quietly. It activated a self-destruct sequence with a device on its arm, and Dutch ran as fast as he could before he could be caught in the explosion. But what happened to Dutch after his brush with death? He was now living in a world where he knew without a shadow of a doubt that alien life existed. It had visited Earth and saw humans as animals to hunt. Were there more of them out there? Was there a bigger threat? Would they return for him?
It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident.
Dutch was taken to the hospital to recover from his injuries after his encounter with the Predator, and he began recording audio tapes to ensure if anything happened to him, everything he learned would be kept intact. While recovering in the hospital, he met Agent Peter Keyes, an ex-Air Force captain in charge of a top-secret branch of the CIA called the Owlf, the Otherworldly Life Forms Program. The United States government was well aware of Predator visitations, and Keyes interviewed Dutch about his experience, and Dutch told him his story. In 24 hours, his entire team had been wiped out, the soldiers he trusted with his life butchered like animals. Once he learned the Predator's hunting habits, he was able to take the creature down. But the Predator left no evidence behind besides a crater. His ship had automatically returned back to his homeworld with a record of what happened during the hunt. During his questioning, Dutch realized that the government couldn't be trusted. Keyes would send more soldiers to their deaths if it meant the Owlf could capture a Predator alive and steal their technology. Where Keyes saw opportunity, Dutch saw only a threat he believed could return. Another effect of his Predator encounter was the radiation sickness it left him with from being so close to the explosion. Dutch began hearing more and more stories about demons in the jungle that took him as trophies. He had to investigate the stories himself and couldn't wait for his treatments to be complete in the hospital. He left the hospital and went completely off-grid. In the public world, Dutch vanished completely, something that caused his older brother, John Schaefer, a detective of the New York City Police Department, to begin looking for answers over his brother's disappearance. A man that had his own showdown with the Predators. A story for another time. His brother's trail led him to the site of the explosion, leaving him with no answers on what happened to his brother.
April 8th, 1991. I'm not dead yet.
By 1991, Dutch was beginning to regret not finishing his radiation treatment. Although he would survive, he had lost a significant amount of weight and looked almost unrecognizable. But his mission was too important. He needed to get back to Valverde and learn more about the Predators. When he arrived, the Owlf had already been there. They built an entire complex around the site of the crater, and Dutch had no way to infiltrate the compound safely. Instead, he would do his own form of recon by tracking down the scientists taking breaks at local bars. After a couple drinks, he had them talking. The scientists revealed that the explosion that caused the crater emitted a form of radiation they had never seen before. Based on their stories, Dutch knew that nothing was left there for them to find, but it was convenient for him. While they were busy searching the area, it would keep them away from his activities. Dutch went from village to village, posing as an author, writing about South American folklore, and the closer he got to the jungle, the more stories he heard about devils in the trees, with some details too consistent to his own experience to ignore. He learned that the stories always increased during the hottest summers. Even his own encounter happened on one of the hottest days on record. Predators must love to eat, likely reminding them of their homeworld. From all the stories they heard, Dutch deduced that the Predators' sole purpose on Earth was to hunt. They had been visiting for centuries, perhaps longer. Knew they'd return,
with
would
ties
be
to
there to
international smuggling networks.
June
To map
27th,
out this network, we need to know
1992.
what's coming in, where
It's
it's
hard to
going,
remember
who's
that the
shipping
most
it, and to
important
whom.
part of an operation is
Infiltrate the village,
patience.
smug it with a
About a year
surveillance
later,
package,
Dutch still
and
hadn't
connect
found
that
another
package to
predator,
a
but
sat
patience
nav.
was everything. He reflected on how a mission could be planned, but everything could go wrong within a second. But sometimes you could get lucky. He was on the dock preparing to leave the country, about 10 clicks away from the Valverde border, and he believed he had learned everything he could from the area. But at that moment, he saw Agent Keyes pull up with 3 other agents, who gave themselves away instantly with their clean suits. He hadn't seen Keyes since the hospital interview, but Keyes walked right up to him, shook his hand, and spoke to him as if they were old pals. They went to the bar together, trading war stories and sharing intel with each other. Keyes was working under the cover story that he was searching for a serial killer in the area, surveying villages, locating witnesses, and from Keyes' knowledge, Dutch learned that the Predators only attacked victims that were armed. They weren't interested in taking children, random villagers. They wanted a challenge that would test their skills.
Voodoo 1, this is Zeus. Move to location Alpha and stand by for further orders. Judging by the armed guards, I'd say that's the boss. Take him out, then grab his keys.
We have intruders in the area. Be on alert. Shoot anything that moves.
Expect more resistance. They know you're here now. One of those should open his personal room, where I'm guessing he keeps his ledgers and manifests. Grab the manifest and we'll identify which boats to tag with GPS beacons.
Send it in back up.
Enemy spotted.
Boats are tracking. Move on to visual surveillance.
I'm getting down.
Wait, eyes open.
Trust me when I tell you to keep moving and stay together. We have a mission to complete. all of it. Grab the mobile SATCOM and initiate the sync.
I hope this is mud. Some lovely organic camo.
Reinforcements are on the way! Think in progress, Voodoo 1. Stand by.
Check these coordinates.
Right over here.
Getting muddied up. Check these coordinates. Armored hostile. First aid right there.
Sync complete. Grab the SATCOM. Everything's in place and transmitting. Nice work, Fire Team. Make your way to the extraction zone.
I got movement in the trees. Check it. Applying camo. Found some mud.
Hang tight, Fire Team. Heading to you now. Hostiles are attempting to escape. Stop them now! Send it back up!
Shifting covering fire.
Chopper's taking fire. Losing soldiers is never easy, Voodoo, but we got the job done. We can be proud of that.
April 4th, 2001, and while I've had basic training, I usually stay away from field duty. However, it seemed prudent to have first-hand knowledge of the predators.
And as Dutch continues to prove himself as an expert tracker, well, I was guaranteed a sighting if I went on the next mission. I opted out of arming myself, as previous accounts describe predators sparing the unarmed. I guess killing the defenseless must be seen as dishonorable. After infiltration, we quickly walked into a guerrilla ambush. And at this particular moment, I regretted my decision to go unarmed, but I kept my head down while Dutch and his team did their work. And after the dust settled, we heard a deafening roar. And in the clearing stood a massive predator. It had no mask. It was staring Dutch down in complete silence. After what seemed like minutes, it let out another roar, and it charged us. And as it was closing in, the predator threw a knife that missed Dutch, but it grazed my arm. And unfazed, Dutch grabbed a spear from his back, and he thrust it into the predator's chest. But the spear must have missed any vital organs, as the predator continued to fight Dutch before escaping into the jungle. And minutes later, we felt the ground rumble as a spacecraft lifted into the air and then left the planet entirely. And while I paid for it in physical trauma, I'm glad to have seen it in person. I can't say I'm disappointed to see what I saw.
It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident. These tapes are my personal testimony. Insurance. Should anything happen to me, what I found won't be lost. My team was brought in to rescue a Guatemala cabinet minister and his aide, who had been captured by guerrilla forces in Valverde. We located the downed helicopter, and the skinned bodies of those aboard hung in nearby trees, seemingly at the hands of guerrilla fighters. After assaulting their camp, it became clear that the mission was a setup. American intelligence had sent us to retrieve the captured agents who had been on recon for future military action. But none of that matters, because while we were clearing out the guerrillas, something was hunting us. An invisible killer tracked us as we made our way to the extraction point. In 24 hours, it wiped out my entire team. Rick Hawkins, Blaine Cooper, Mac Elliott, Billy Soul, Jorge Ramirez, and Al Dillon. The best soldiers I've ever known. Men I trusted with my life were butchered like animals. It was a nightmare. We walked in with guns, but it had perfect camouflage, advanced weaponry, and could see heat. It was strong and smart, a pitiless hunter. I waited, I watched, and when I understood it, when I saw how it hunted, I killed it. As it lay dying, in a final fuck you, it activated an explosive device. I barely escaped that blast. My radiation sickness and the crater of the explosion are the only evidence it ever was here. I've given my official statement to Agent Peter Keyes of the OWLF, but it's become clear I needed to investigate Valverde myself. Keyes was thorough, but he asked all the wrong questions. I mean, we have proof of alien life, but that life sees us as game. It's an alien whose first contact with humanity was to hunt us for sport. All Keyes cared about was the technology lost in the explosion. He can see the jungle for the trees. I see the threat. He sees the opportunity. Spies are all the same. I mean, we aren't people to them. We are assets. How many soldiers would he feed to those monsters just for a chance to steal from them or to learn from them? The government can't be trusted. So I will have to do this on my own. I'm cutting my treatment short and going off the grid. I will make my way back to South America to Valverde. I was told that there were stories about demons who make trophies of man. I'd like to hear those stories. It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident. These tapes are my personal testimony. Insurance. Should anything happen to me, what I found won't be lost. My team was brought in to rescue a Guatemala cabinet minister and his aide, who had been captured by guerrilla forces in Valverde. We located the downed helicopter, and the skinned bodies of those aboard hung in nearby trees, seemingly at the hands of guerrilla fighters. After assaulting their camp, it became clear that the mission was a setup. American intelligence had sent us to retrieve the captured agents who had been on recon for future military action. But none of that matters, because while we were clearing out the guerrillas, something was hunting us. An invisible killer tracked us as we made our way to the extraction point. In 24 hours, it wiped out my entire team. Rick Hawkins, Blaine Cooper, Mac Elliott, Billy Soul, Jorge Ramirez, and Al Dillon. The best soldiers I've ever known. Men I trusted with my life were butchered like animals. It was a nightmare. We walked in with guns, but it had perfect camouflage, advanced weaponry, and could see heat. It was strong and smart, a pitiless hunter. I waited, I watched, and when I understood it, when I saw how it hunted, I killed it. As it lay dying, in a final fuck you, it activated an explosive device. I barely escaped that blast. My radiation sickness and the crater of the explosion are the only evidence it ever was here. I've given my official statement to Agent Peter Keyes of the OWLF, but it's become clear I needed to investigate Valverde myself. Keyes was thorough, but he asked all the wrong questions. I mean, we have proof of alien life, but that life sees us as game. It's an alien whose first contact with humanity was to hunt us for sport. All Keyes cared about was the technology lost in the explosion. He can see the jungle for the trees. I see the threat. He sees the opportunity. Spies are all the same. I mean, we aren't people to them. We are assets. How many soldiers would he feed to those monsters just for a chance to steal from them or to learn from them? The government can't be trusted. So I will have to do this on my own. I'm cutting my treatment short and going. It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army. June 27th, 1992. It's hard to remember that the most important part of an operation is patience. January 13th, 2019. I knew that the Predator's deployment to Earth would make it impossible to keep all of this a secret. Sooner or later there would be another player on the board. I'd hoped that it would be another agency, one that understood and respected the threat. Project Stargazer. Our initial intelligence on Stargazer was that they were capable, funded, but inexperienced. But they were smart. They took the OWLF's funding and got it shut down. Everyone we could identify in their group was a disavowed member of another agency, including the OWLF. Lacking strong leadership and a clear directive, they were sloppy and arrogant. They were aware of the Predator's threat, And while they had many of the pieces, they struggled to see the bigger picture. Stargazer was so far behind that we didn't see them as a threat until the event in Mexico. The recovered Predator escape pod was an extraordinary find for Stargazer, but the death toll was a heavy price to pay for taking a Predator captive. My task force has many directives, but one of the most primary is we do not take captives. Retrieve technology, corpses, and other intelligence. But there's no value in a live Predator, only liability. The enemy does not want peace. The enemy does not negotiate. Its only drive on Earth is to hunt. What we might learn from a captive Predator would never be worth the risk to our people. Stargazer didn't learn from their mistakes, and the technology they've recovered has only made them cocky. When the government cut ties to the agency, it should have shuttered their project permanently, but they only shifted their goals. Guerrilla factions and private military companies are being contracted by Stargazer to set up bases and equipment in locations that we have identified as ideal hunting grounds. We believe that the former intelligence project is setting itself up to be a fully independent dealer of otherworldly arms. This is the worst-case scenario. Hostile forces will use those weapons on their enemies, and they will use them on us. All the while, the true enemy stalks us unseen. It's a distraction mankind can't afford. Stargazer will have to be dealt with.